he did was post his children. That's it.
FBI Director Kash Patel was bombarded with hatred from Trump supporters after he tweeted about Diwali, with fascist podcasters like Joel Webbin telling him to get out of his country. But Patel isn't alone, because on Halloween, Vivek Ramaswamy put out a wholesome post celebrating Halloween, only to be met with the most vile racism imaginable. These screenshots are just a really small sample of the vitriol.
I want you to see how cute these children are. Look at, oh, and look at the little one. Look at his face. So adorable. And look at this one little, is that Iron Man, Spider-Man? I don't even know, but he's such a cutie pie. So he says, Happy Halloween. All he did was post his children. That's it. Now, Kash Patel is the director of the FBI who is holding water for Trump. He's doing everything and anything that Trump wants him to do. He's bending over backwards, grabbing his ankles and splitting the cheeks. He's doing a lot. And so they start screaming, get out of my country. MAGA fans rage as Kash Patel celebrates Diwali, as they pronounce it. All he did was put up this picture. This is the picture. Isn't that beautiful? For those of you who don't know what Diwali is, well, I can't really explain it to you either, because I don't really know. It's just a celebration. It's kind of like New Year's, is it? I don't know. If there are any Indian people or Indian adjacent people, can you explain Diwali to me? I know that it happens once a year. I've seen pictures of it. It looks like a good time. I actually made an Indian associate once, and I tried to get invited out to a Diwali celebration, but they didn't invite me. There was like colors being thrown on everyone. It just looked like a really good time, but I didn't get my invite. Who knows why? But nonetheless, get out of my country, they scream. So you see, these people, they bond over bigotry, and then they get stunned when the bigotry turns back around on them.
These screenshots are just a really...
All right, we're gonna read these so that you can get a sense of what they said to those little cuties. Look at what he says. Will they be asking for poop as a treat? Someone else says, get out of my homeland and take your kids with you. This isn't your country, and you will not subvert my nation's interests anymore. You are not and never will be an American. Echo says, Vivek, why do your kids still do the Indian head wobble if they're third generation? It's kind of disturbing to see. Someone else says, and this person is verified, another dumb Indian trying too hard to belong to GOP. I can smell the curry on you. Look, these mother effers went all around the world looking for spices, colonizing here, there, and everywhere. Now they're gonna try to insult spices? Please. There's this hierarchy that was created hundreds of years ago when race was invented by Europeans who decided to call themselves white. And they decided to call people on the continent of what was later known as Africa, they decided to call these people black so that they could have an excuse for subjugation. So they put quote unquote black people down at the bottom. And other people in gradated scales are just happy to not be on the bottom. So they don't want to be associated with the bottom. So they do all of these stupid tricks and tactics trying to align themselves with the oppressor and the children of the colonizers, only for them to realize that once the bottom is wiped out, mother effer, you're on the bottom. Once the bottom is not participating or opts out, now you're on the bottom. Let's take a look at some of the other things that they said. These I find extremely disturbing. There's some things going on, so I just want you to stop right now and check, make sure that you're still subscribed. And if you were never subscribed, this is your wake-up call or your call to action. Make sure that you're subscribed. If you can't see, I'll read it for you. It says, F you one more time, get the F out of my country. And then someone says, yeet the jeet. And someone says, you win the most scary. And look at this. This is a person with a turban getting kicked by a George Washington looking person. You see, the thing is that India was colonized as well. India was colonized. If you remember movies from back in the days with the little princess Shirley Temple in it, you remember there were Indians in that.
Good morning, Granddad.
I remember it very, very slightly from my childhood, but I remember there was an Indian person on the roof with her.
This is your room, Mrs. Sam?
when Shirley Temple was kicked out of the boarding school because her father was lost at war and then the money stopped coming in. So, I mean, look at how they're behaving. This right here, I think, is really sad. Let's play some more.
A small sample of the vitriol that he received, with people telling him in a variety of ways to basically get the f out of the country and take his kids with him. And the hate was so extreme that fellow Republican Dinesh D'Souza, who's also Indian American, came to his defense, writing on Twitter, "Look at the abuse Vivek is getting for posting an innocuous photo with his boys. This is the show that Heritage and Tucker have brought upon us. If this continues, I would not be surprised to see mass desertions of blacks, Latinos, and other minorities from the GOP. Unreal." Now, expectedly, that led to him facing backlash, with commenters telling him he's brown, therefore his opinion is discarded. I bet that person voted for Donald Trump, who Dinesh supports. But even though Dinesh is trying to blame this on Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes, Indian American racism is not a new phenomenon within the Republican Party. Hell, racism specifically directed towards Vivek Ramaswamy himself didn't just start happening after Nick Fuentes went on Tucker Carlson, because Vivek tried very hard to convince Republican voters in the GOP primary that he wasn't a threat to them when he was running for president, and like it all fell on deaf ears, because even though he was saying everything that they wanted to hear, there was still one major hurdle that he just couldn't overcome: his race, as Ann Coulter put it.
Listen.
Oh, and I agreed with many, many things you said during, in fact, probably more than most other candidates when you were running for president, but I still would not have voted for you because you're an Indian. We'll get back to that.
I mean, it really doesn't get any more explicit than that. But now Vivek is running to be governor of Ohio, and he's facing more scrutiny over his race and his religion. I mean, just listen to some of the questions that conservative students asked at a recent Turning Point USA event.
Jesus Christ is God, and there is no other God. He is part of the Holy Trinity, and any other God is a demon, and it's false. How can you represent the constituents of Ohio who are 64% Christian if you are not a part of that faith? If you are an Indian, a Hindu, coming from a different culture, different religion than those who founded this country, those who grew this country, built this country, made this country the beautiful thing that it is today, what are you conserving? You are bringing change. I'll be 100% honest with you. Christianity is the one truth.
Christian voices should be the main voice of America, and I want to know basically why you seem to be, and I don't mean to be horribly offensive, but why you seem to be masquerading as a Christian.
You familiar with the Ten Commandments?
You call yourself a Hindu, but you also call yourself Christian.
I don't call myself Christian. I call myself a Hindu. I'm not running to be pastor of Ohio. I'm running to be governor of Ohio, and I didn't run to be pastor of America. I ran to...
So now he's trying to talk about the separation of church and state. Meanwhile, he is enwrapped in a party who is talking about making this a Christian nationalist country. Like, this just make it make sense. He thinks because his hair is straight and that he may have Anglo-looking features, the thin lips, etc., he thinks that they're going to forget that his skin is brown and that they're going to embrace him as a white one. So now he's trying to talk about the separation of church and state. Listen.
Commandments?
You call yourself a Hindu, but you also call yourself Christian.
I don't call myself Christian. I call myself a Hindu. I'm not running to be pastor of Ohio. I'm running to be governor of Ohio, and I didn't run to be pastor of America. I ran to be president of the United States of America. Do you think it's inappropriate for someone who's a Hindu to be, say, a U.S. president?
No, I think it's...
Listen.
No, well... But isn't Charlie Kirk's organization founded on Christian values as well? And the United States of America also, you know, based on what Protestantism is, based on how those values are, wouldn't that contradict what your beliefs are?
Goddamn. So, needless to say, the Republican Party has a problem with identity politics. And by identity politics, I of course mean white identity politics, i.e.